So I have one student that is not coming here. And how the recording works, I record this in the cloud. So normally Fordham uploads this into YouTube during the weekend. So this one here is going to be available during the weekend. Normally they do that. I don't know why they don't do this immediately, but we have it. And this is cool to have it because we can review and check and recheck and recheck as many times as we want. Got it? Okay, so let me show you my screen. 1 minute. Let's go to the syllabus. Do you see my screen, my syllabus? No? Well, you know, as usual, guys, we're going to talk about mathematics, statistics, econometrics, and finance, but what this class is more about programming, okay? And the applications are finance, you know, mathematics, econometrics. But what I want from you guys at this point is to really know how to use a program, okay? But really from zero, and then do very complicated stuff as you're going to see in what comes in the class. Got it? So what we do is we always, I do this is more or less like if you have taken my theory classes, the most applied summer class, it's more or less like that. Is we do something and I give you exercises in the class, and so you do that, and then we come back, we solve them, we continue. Okay, and the thing is that you need to learn how to do this. It's by yourself. You need to sit and do and redo and redo and redo until you get it. It's going to be programming, guys, is more complex than any other class because, well, complex and simple at the same time, because it has explicit commands. Okay, the wording, if you do caps versus non-caps, it's a completely different story. So you need to be very careful on the way you write the things. Got it? A mistake, a grammatical mistake can make your program simply collapse because the computer doesn't understand if it's not exactly the same explicit command. Got it? So as usual, we're going to have class participation. We have 10%. It's just for being here and do exercises and participate, ask questions, etc. Then we have 6 assignments, you know, 10% each. No, normally the assignments, guys, the first assignment comes on Thursday. Thursday, Wednesday. And you have almost 5 days to solve it. It's based basically on the previous 2 classes, right? So if you read and you are in a class, you are not going to have problems of solving this type of questions. Now, as far as we move, as moving further, the things are going to be more complex, but you're going to see that you're going to follow up. If you follow this, it's going to be very simple to catch up. We have a final project, and this final project is 30% of the assignment. I will explain you what is a final project in time. It's basically doing whatever you want. If you're interested on some mathematical model, some economic model, if you're interested in whatever, okay, finance, whatever. What I want from you is you to show me really that you know how to program. Got it? That's what I want, is show me that you know how to program. You use data, you know, use graphs, do some regression, do some modeling, use some symbolic mathematics. You're going to see this in the future. But, you know, just show me that you know how to use the MATLAB. Got it? So I will grade basically on how well or what is the quality of the theoretical model you're trying to develop or financial model. I grade more in terms of what the application of MATLAB to that particular problem. Okay, I have had students that have done, even I was mentioning to Luis, I had one student and he was a brilliant guy and his model was brilliant. He did a program for horse racing, you see, and he did it very nicely. I had another student that did something related to price discrimination in the airline industry, for example. Do you know that when you buy a ticket in the airplane, if you buy this 4 months in advance, you pay cheaper. And then as soon as you approach to the deadline to the day of the flight, the price go up. However, if the plane is not fully booked, imagine just missing 5 days to start the trip, the prices start going down. So she did a very nice program also on this price discrimination. It was very nice. Got it? So it's going to be open to you. Whatever you can do if you want to do something that is interesting for you for your master thesis or for the future, just do it. Okay, I will give you a lot of examples, so you're going to see and you're going to select and you know whatever you want. Make sense? Okay, questions about the grades. The grades are very straightforward. So there is no formal exam. There is a lot of, you know, programming is learning by doing. There is no other way. Okay, is and remember, why it's called programming? It's a program, it's a language. Okay, and why is a language, guys? So how many of you speak another language that is not English? Well, Spanish. What language do you speak?
Also Italian as well.
Italian.
Yeah, I speak Zulu.
Zulu, for example. So you know what? What is the first thing that you need to do when you learn a language, guys, or when you start learning English? Words. Do you know? It's words, and then you try to memorize. You have your techniques to memorize it. This is exactly what happens in MATLAB or in any other program. We need to memorize a list of words. You know what is beautiful is that the programming is much smarter now than before, so that the words are very intuitive. Okay, so you want to understand how the words are, simply you type them correctly. And once we have this idea of learning words, what is the next step? It's basically grammar, right? When you learn a language, because you have a bunch of words that you know how to put them together, you can speak whatever except the language. So the grammar is also part of MATLAB. Okay, so first we're going to learn a bunch of words, and then we're going to start putting them together to make sense. And once we understand how the grammar works, we're going to start creating our toy programs. And the toy programs basically is going to be an interconnection between data. We're going to have data from somewhere, upload into the program, clean the data, organize the data, run your model, provide you results. That's basically the circle we're going to be working. Make sense? Questions about the syllabus? So all the topics are here. So we have 10 classes, guys. The duration is normally 3 hours, but as soon as we don't have a break, so we do this in 2.5 hours, more or less. And sometimes we need to use more time, sometimes we use a little less time. It depends on how we are going. Now, the way we are going to be working here, guys, during the first 2 or 3 classes, I will walk really slowly. You know, I need to be sure that everyone is with me. You know, have you done this? Do you obtain the same results? Yes, we are moving that. And then we continue moving. Once we have the speed, you're going to see. I can tell you, you're going to get it immediately, and then you are going to have time to do this by yourselves, but you just catch up with me. Make sense? It's very straightforward. Questions? No questions at this point? Okay.
Just wanted to ask, you mentioned, Prof, that we have 10 classes. How many classes a week?
It's 2.
Okay.
It's 2 classes per week. We go Monday and Wednesdays. I think that there are a couple of classes that are going to be pre-recorded classes. I think one of them is on Wednesday. I have a pre-recorded classes for you on Wednesday. So you can watch the video anytime you want on Wednesday. And because iPad has a program, has an event on Wednesday, so I need to be there. But I pre-record, and then you just walk, and this is going to be exactly the same. The only thing is that you cannot ask questions during the class, but you can ask me questions after that. Okay? It's going to be very interactive. Now, for the final project, guys, as soon as we are starting early, we are going to have, normally, that was the tricky part in my previous classes, is that the last class before the final, before the project, is a class in which we cover a lot of things that are interesting for the project. You see that? Now, in this case, no. In this case, we are going to finish regularly, but then you're going to have 1 week, one complete week. The previous class has only from Monday to Wednesday, so they have only 2 days to do the final project. We're going to have 1 complete week to finalize, to do all the final project. So you're going to have, if you want to do this in 1 day, you do it. But if you want more time, you have more time, okay? And then remember, guys, this is one of the things, as I was talking to Luis the other day, this is one of the things that really puts you in a different level, okay? So you can be a fantastic econometrician, a statistician, an economics guy, but if you don't know how to program, you're very limited, very, very limited. If you want to pursue a postgrad on, research, PhD or whatever like that, if you don't know how to program, you're done. You're going to suffer. It's like being with one less leg. So you need to do that. So this puts you a lot. Now, in personal experience, guys, the one that introduced me more to the consulting services that I do a lot now is programming. Because it was very strange. In my time when I started this 15 years ago, it was very strange for some PhDs that were at the same time programmers. And I was a programmer. This puts you in a completely different step. Now, after 15 years, guys, the difference is, of course, is less. So now more people is programming, but there are a couple of things. There are people that only program. Okay, so what the problem with these guys is that they need someone to guide them. You know, so this is a typical problem. They don't understand what they're doing, but they do it. But who's telling them what to do is the guy that knows. And there's the other guy that knows, but he doesn't know anything about programming. So that's bad also, because you need someone to be helping you to do this stuff. So being someone that understands the things and can do programming, that's the way to go. Okay, and that's what the market value. And I do a lot of work in Wall Street, guys, and there is very few people that really sit and program. Okay, Python now is very useful, is very simple, but still they don't really use it as they should. You know, they use simply call commands, you know, do some stuff here and there, and they do it. But then you ask, can you do this stuff and clean the data? They have zero clue on that. And this is something that we need to understand also. And my first classes, guys, jumped directly into the financial economic modeling. But I felt the first 2 years that it was a kind of a catastrophic. You know, it was very slow. The people were completely lost. And then I realized that indeed, it is better to start from zero. You know, even though if you have some level of knowledge of the programming, it is better to start from zero in terms of understanding how data works. Okay, how do I clean the data? How do I select certain parts of the data? You know, very simple commands that we have. Just think about a big Excel. How do I filter? You know, how do I select the male versus the female? How do I select the people that earn more than $50,000? How do I save the people that save more than 25% of their salaries? How do I clean all the NAs? You see, all this stuff that looks very obvious. I realize that it's obvious in my mind in Excel. It's very simple, but then when you try to program that, it has some tricks, right? Because the program we're going to be learning is more logic. You're going to see it's very logic. It's very simple, but the logic is what you need to learn first. Make sense? Okay. So let's start talking a little about what is a program and what type of program we're going to be learning. So let me go and show you again my screen. Where's my? Well, I can use whiteboard. Give me 1 second, guys. I want to see if I can use whiteboard. Oh. No. Do you see a white screen, guys?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, okay. So then you tell me if you see when I write, because my screens are kind of my pen goes in a different way. Do you see my small pen?
Yes.
Oh, great. Okay, so what is programming? As I told you guys, programming is a language. Okay, so this is the first thing we need to understand. And as a language, we have, of course, words that in computation, in IT is called commands. And then we have rules that we call grammar. What do we call here in programming is the logic. Okay, so what is the logic of the program? And this is what we need to learn. It's basically what words we need to use and what is the grammar? What is the logic of my commands? How the commands need to put together in order to start producing results, because that's what we want. Now, what type of programs we have, guys? No, what type of programs do we have? So we have something that is called the native programs. So this is basically C, C++, Fortran, you know, all the old names, you know. C++, of course, it continues being recent. But what are these guys called native? Because almost every single program that we have that we are using now, guys, even Python, R, you know, all these programs are based on these native languages. Okay, what is the beauty about the native language? You can do whatever you want. Okay, whatever, everything is a new, completely from zero, you can do it. But the issue with these native programs, guys, is exactly that, is that you need to start from zero. So you need to assign, for example, so if you want to do a mathematical operation, okay, how many bits is going to have, okay, how many spaces I need to allocate, you know, what is the precision I need to have? So it's very, very complex. So indeed, when I start doing programming, I did COBOL and C++, but And what I did in C++ was, do you remember what was this game that was a monster that was eating? What was the name of that? Very old
Pac-Man.
game. Pac-Man.
Pac-Man.
Yes, we did, as part of our project was to create Pac-Man with C++. So the code was more or less, well, how many pages? 30 pages at least, on just commands, and because you need to tell explicitly what is the distance, etc. It was very, very complex program. Okay, but it was fantastic because you can debug everything, you can check everything, you can modify everything, etc. So, but the thing is that it is a very long. Okay? We're not going to do that. It's not our objective to be really IT guys. So if you do high frequency trading, for example, in the city guys, or you do a very specific compliance program, you need to use a native because you need to go into every single detail. You cannot leave anything out. Okay? But what we're going to be doing, guys, is basically a non-native or basically object-oriented project program. Okay, so what is an object-oriented? So what we try to do, we need to understand, first of all, guys, that we are going to be based, that we have a native. And normally, I think MATLAB is a C++. Okay, so the native of MATLAB is C++. You don't see that, you don't need to see that. But what we're going to be using is a much simpler way of programming that is called object-oriented. So how this object-oriented works is very straightforward. So imagine the following. We are going to have, I will call it the main program, okay? So what is the main program? It's a program that basically calls any other programs. And we're going to have programs here. We're going to have program 1. We can do here program 2. We can have here program 3, etc. We can have program 4, etc. Got it? And so what is the object? My objects are going to be P1, P2, P3, P4, etc. And also my main is an object. Got it? It's an object. Why? Because indeed it can be an independent entity. Okay? It's an independent entity, completely independent. But you can call this independent object and they can do specific jobs. So for example, the main can call P1 to do the sum, can call P2 to do the multiplication, and perhaps P1 and P2 also communicate to do some tricks together. And P2 can ask P3 or can provide P3 for some program that is inputted in here. So you see the beauty about this stuff is that the small pieces can work with the main, can work between them. And why do we do that? It's much simpler. In terms of programming, you can have a more simple program. So you can have a program that has 10 modules or 10 objects, you see? And they are very simple. Every single object is simple. They do specific tasks. That's all what they do. Now, what you can do also, and this was my first mistake. When I learned MATLAB, my kid was asking me today, how do you learn MATLAB? Well, I learned it when my thesis supervisor told me, hey, Eric, you need to do these programs and you can use Ox, Gauss, or MATLAB. So Ox and Gauss are kind of old, Europeans use them a lot. And MATLAB is the one that I say, what sounds cool? I would prefer to use MATLAB. And then what he did is he simply told me, okay, what do you want? MATLAB? And he gave me a book. I have this book up to now. Okay, do a program, go and program, and that's it. So I was in panic mode, as you can imagine, right? So if you never program, someone tell you, okay, do this using MATLAB and go ahead for that. So I was really in panic mode. But then I realized that indeed it's so simple that you can learn this by yourself, okay? If you have an objective, you can learn this by yourself. And what I will do is I will facilitate your learning process. My first mistake, guys, and I didn't realize that until I finished my PhD, is that my code, I didn't have many codes. I didn't have P1, P2, P3, P4. I have a huge main. And my main also has, inside the main, we have P1, P2, P3. So you can imagine how big was my program. My program, guys, for a PhD thesis was almost 150 pages. One single code, huge monster. And it was so complex. Now I try to review, I had one of my PhD students, perhaps 5 years ago, that he wanted to replicate one of my works. I And I say, okay, I will give you that code and I will try to explain him. I was not able to understand my code. Okay, it was so complex. If you put everything together, it's very complex. But then if you divide the program into the different pieces, and then you have a main that calls everyone, that's basically the one that coordinates, a coordinator. So your life is going to be much simpler. Got it? And so that's where we are going to try to do. We're going to try to be basically creating the main and creating the small programs that call each other and work in a smooth way. Now, what is interesting, guys, is that you can have main A. You can create another program for a completely different story. So let's call this main B. You know what? Perhaps you need also to do some summation. So you can call this one here. You don't need to go to the main. You just call this guy here. And then you create your own P5, P6, or whatever you want. You see, that's the beauty. Make sense? So what you do is you create a library of programs. And these programs do something specific. And that's the way we're going to see in MATLAB, guys. Once we start programming or using the programs of other people, that's what we see. You know, there are programs that estimate the range, the mean absolute value. They estimate something. That's it. So what you find is a program that there's a module like that, and then you simply start calling that. And you see what are the inputs, what are the outputs, and then start using that. Okay? And that's what is crucial here, guys. When you have a block or an object, you always have two pieces of the equation. So this guy here always receives something, this one. So this is, you need to have inputs. And in general, guys, these programs return something that is called outputs. Got it? And both of them, inputs and outputs, are called arguments. Got it? So you're going to have arguments that get into the program that are called inputs, and you're going to have arguments that receive something from the program. These ones are called outputs. Got it? So, but arguments are simply both, can be inputs or outputs. But that's the information that you send to the program and then you receive from the program.
Does it always taste like that, or can one become the other?
No. No, you can be, you know, the input for one can be the output for one. Yes, can be. Okay. You're gonna see all this stuff is going to be learned by us. Make sense, guys? Okay, questions? No questions? Okay. Have you done your MATLAB? Do you have your MATLAB installed? Everyone? Okay, so good. So what is the dynamic, guys, is what I will be doing is I will do something and you do the same. Got it? So try to accommodate in a couple, I will start showing my screen. Sorry, I have, so we try to accommodate our screen in such a way that you have two screens, basically, my screen and your screen. Got it? So let's start with that. I think that you, okay, so let me share my screen. Let's open MATLAB. Where's MATLAB? Why I don't have, oh, sorry, screen one. You see the syllabus, right? Yeah, okay, so I have MATLAB here. Let me move MATLAB here. You see my MATLAB? Guys?
Yes, we do.
Perfect. So I will forget about the upper part for a minute. But indeed, this one here, guys, okay, let me describe to you what is MATLAB, or what we're going to be seeing in MATLAB. So all this one here, the lower part, is where we are going to start working first. Okay, these ones here are my functions. Now I have tons of functions. I've worked for years on this stuff. So let me forget about this for a minute. The editor is the one that we're going to be using all the time, because here's where we run the programs. Here's where we run the small letters here. Let me clean first everything. Clear commands, I will clean this stuff. Yes, so you have something like that, correct? A blank space. Here you're going to have all the last programs that you have created. And as you can see, guys, the MATLAB program ends in .m. So if you see a .m, oh, this is a MATLAB program. Got it? And as we're going to learn in the future, guys, we're going to have, we're going to be able to export from CSV data files, TXT data files, Excel data files, XLS, XLM, all the extensions that you can imagine we are going to be able to handle. Got it? So everyone with me here. Now, when we want to run, have you seen I went to home? When you want to clean the commands, you go to home and clear commands, and then disappears everything. So this is going to be empty like that. If you write something, this is going to be empty like that. Okay. Questions up to here? Everyone is with me? Okay. So how?
Yes. I
Yes.
just wanted to ask, is it normal for my MATLAB to not show editor on it? It's just home, plots, and apps.
Where are you? This part here, that's the upper part?
Yeah.
No, you should have this one here. Everyone has this part here in the top. Guys, do you have home, plots, apps, editor, publisher? What is interesting for me is home and editor. What do you have?
I just have home, plots, and apps, and that's where it ends.
No. Everyone, Babalwa, Mufatse, Luis.
I have the same thing on my side. It just says home plots and apps, but
Really?
I do see clean commands on the
Yeah,
home
and what
tab.
about the editor? Do you?
There's
can you
no
there's
editor
no
tab,
editor? No, you must have it.
but there
Maybe
is
it's
a
a
clean
different
commands.
version.
What
Because-
version? No, but you have downloaded the last version, right? The 2023 version.
I have
Can
the
you-
online version because I couldn't, like, the new Windows 10 didn't allow me to install it.
Ah, interesting. So let me.
It's not a Microsoft own program, so
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to install it.
Yeah, but you have the online version. So you know what? Can you show me your screen? Afatse, let me allow you to show me your screen. Can you show me your screen just for 1 minute? I just want to be sure is how you're going to run the programs. If you can run it in your way, that's okay.
Okay, let me just say entire screen.
Yeah, perfect.
This is what it looks like.
Okay, new open. Can you go to? Oh, you have a script, new open. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yes, when you open a new program, you're gonna have. Can you make this bigger, the MATLAB?
Okay.
Can you reduce our pictures? I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Okay. So here we have. Okay, you have clear commands. Yeah. No. You have everything. Once we start doing the program, this is going to create something more. This is good.
Okay.
Yeah. So no worries about that. This is okay.
Okay.
Okay. So let's go then. Let's start using MATLAB then. Okay. Can you stop sharing so I can show my screen?
Yeah, I'm trying to just go back to stop sharing.
Yeah. Perfect. So now let me show you my screen again. And you know what is beautiful in mathematics, guys, when we do mathematics, so we use variables, right? X, Y, Z, and then we input values to these variables, right? That's what we do in algebra, common algebra. That's exactly what MATLAB does. Right? That's exactly the way MATLAB works all the time. So let's create, for example, very simple examples just to get familiar with MATLAB. So let's assume that I will call apples. Apples is going to be A. Yeah, let's call apples A. And let's say that I have 12 apples or 10 apples. Right? So now take a look to what happens when I do A equal 10. It repeats what I wrote. You see that? If I don't want MATLAB to repeat what I have done, guys, if you move the arrows up or down, you can repeat the code that you have written before. So for example, up arrow, you see your A equal 10. So if I don't want MATLAB to be repeating what I do, I use the semicolon. And I normally use the semicolon, guys, just to not to be repeating all these times. So take a look. A. Do you agree? So let's assume now, let's continue doing. So let's assume that I have 6 bananas. Let's assume that I have 20 oranges. You see that? Okay, so now one of the things that I want to be interested, oh, you know what, give me 1 second, guys. I need to clear everything just to show you. So I will do this again. I have 10 oranges, 6 bananas, and 20 oranges, apples. Okay, so one thing that you always want to know is what I have active in my computer, in my software. What is active? Okay, so what MATLAB has in its memory. In order to do that, guys, you just do first who. This is one letter you need to learn, one word that you need to learn is who gives you all the variables that are active in your current MATLAB. Okay, who. Now, sometimes you want to know more information, more detailed information. Instead of who, you write whose. You see the difference? Now, whose give you the name, the size of the variable, the number of bytes, and the class. Double, guys, is a numeric number, a real number. In programming, double is real number. Okay. So now, guys, assume that I have also the prices. I have the price of apple is equal to $2. The price of the banana equals $1, and the price of oranges equals $3, for example. So you can write in a single line if you want. So the price of A equals $2, the price of B equals $1, and the price of oranges equals $3. Got it? So now, can you tell me, guys, how much money do I have in terms how much money do I have in terms of oranges and apples? So we can call it, let's say total. But we can say total dollar. Now, when you do a name, guys, you do the underscore $, or what is also traditional is you do something like that. The first one is also with caps. This is more Python or a Python way of writing. You know, $, means total dollars, for example. Or in MATLAB, before you normally find this one that was a tradition, but nothing is like that. $_. I will use that, okay? Indifferently, you can use that anyway. So this is going to be equal to what? How do you compute the total value in dollars that you have for your basket? It's going to be quantity times price. Do you agree?
Price.
So basically, what we're going to say is it's going to be A times P of A plus B times P of B plus what is the one? O times P of O. Correct? Do you agree with me, guys? So I will not do the semicolon. I simply leave like that. And then I have a total dollars, $86.
What happens if we put a semicolon in between?
Simply, it doesn't appear, but it doesn't mean that it is. So you see that? The 86 doesn't appear. So if you want to see the 86, what you need to do is type the name of the variable.
So like by doing that, I teach the program, but I don't ask it to show it to me.
Don't show it to me. You know, and you need to be very careful because when you're more complex programs, having the computer to write in the screen, it consumes RAM memory. So if your program is very big, you don't want the computer to be printing every single step that they do. No, just simply do the stuff, and then you simply get the results. Now, what is interesting, guys, is that if you are debugging a program, so if you have a mistake, you don't know what is the mistake, one easy thing is to simply, instead of doing semicolon, just leave the semicolon out. You see that? And then the program is going to basically tell you something there. Make sense?
I
Okay?
didn't catch that, Professor. You said if you make a mistake, what do you do?
Yeah. For example, no. This one here, imagine that you have 10 lines of code and then the program collapses. There is a mistake somewhere. You agree? So one easy way to debug, there are smarter ways to do that, but one easy way to debug is remove the semicolons. So you know that it's going to be printing every single line, do you agree? And in the line that disappears, so this is the line that you have a mistake.
Yes.
Correct? So that's it. It's very simple.
On my side, I made a mistake with one of the variables. I said P0 instead of PO, but
Yes.
when I tried to go back and edit that PO, it wouldn't let me change anything, so I had to retype it out.
You need
So
to
then how
retype
would
it.
I? Oh, so
Yes.
I have to just retype out the whole
Retype
program.
it. Retype the, no, not the overall program. So take a look. So the mistake was what? So instead of,
Like-
you call it P of O. So instead of PO, you call it P0, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then when I try to do my program, my thought, I'm using PO. Do you see this here, guys? I use 0 here, and I use PO here. No, but this is not good because I have PO already created. So we'll clear. When you want to delete one variable, you simply write clear.
Right, clear.
Yes, this one here cleans from the memory the variables that you want to clear. So you can put very many variables, PO, space. You can write as many variables as you want. Make sense? So I'm clearing this one here. So I want to know, what do I have? Will I write whose, just to be sure that I don't have PO? Yes, PO disappeared. Okay, so now I will try to run my total. This one here. Do you see, guys, that the mistake is that here I'm using O. When I describe my P, I write P0. They look similar, but they are different. So what is going to happen? Oops. MATLAB tell me, oops, where is PO? I don't have PO. You see that, guys? Okay, so the way you do it is two things. Either you put a 0 here, or you need to create PO. So I'm sorry. You can create PO here. You delete this 0 and you put, oh, sorry, you delete this 0 and you write PO. Got it? And then the program is going to run. Of course, if you want to see that, 86. Everyone is with me? Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so now imagine, guys, that the price of banana dropped to 0.5. So what is the new total value? The only thing that changed is price of banana from 1 to 0.1. Can you tell me what is the new price, the new total?
Isn't it gonna reduce by 3?
I
Because
know,
it's in
but,
the banana.
yeah, but I want you to compute the new total. Give me, so this should be 83?
Oh, okay.
No, yeah, I don't want you to tell me. I want the computer to tell you.
But I mean, I tried to teach the program that I have a new price.
Yes.
But when I asked him about the total dollars, it gave me 86. Like it didn't account for the price
No.
change.
Well, you know what I'm telling to you is PB, right? Because that's the price I'm changing. PB now should be equal to 0.5, correct? That's all. That's the only price that I've changed. Enter. So now for MATLAB, PB is not 1, it's 0.5. Now, if you compute the total, oh, well, you know, I will delete this one here. I got 83. Can you check that, please, Luis? So what you do is you don't change the name of the variable. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The variable X, Y, and Z, you don't change X. You don't change X. You simply say change the value. X was, or in this case, PB was equal to 1. Now, PB, the same PB equals 0.5. The only change that you need to do here is this one here. Everyone got 83? Luis,
No.
Yeah, I got 83.
can you check, do PV, or can you do whose?
Yeah,
Can't
I
hear you,
have.
Moses.
Yeah, I have
Can
whose.
you
I have
type PV?
AVO,
PV.
PAPV,
Yeah, but type PV. What do you get?
0.5.
Yes, okay, so now do do this formula again.
Oh, I have to do the formula again, or go back like to, or just ask him for the thought though, or
Yeah, you
type
need
the
to
formula
you need to
again.
type the full formula again. You cannot call only the name. The name is a value. What you need to do is you need to call the full program.
Oh.
Makes sense? It makes sense, right? Because MATLAB doesn't know, okay, you have changed PV, but as soon as you don't apply this into this formula, the total is going to be exactly the same. So you need to call again the formula.
Prof,
Yes.
can I ask, when you clear, are you clearing everything that you've created prior, or are you clearing the line?
Well, there are two things. If you type clear like that, with nothing more, it's going to clean everything.
Okay.
Everything. So everything is going to disappear. But if you want to clean something specific, for example, I want to clean PV. I want to clean also A, for example. You simply type like that. The ones that you want to clear, you put the name, space, the name, space, the name, space.
Okay. And then there you regenerated PV to be 0.5.
Oh yeah, but you don't need to do that. If you're gonna put a new value to a variable, you simply type it. You don't need to clear.
So you're overwriting it. So it overwrites
overwriting that. That's it. You don't need to be clear. Okay, clearing normally is when you have big vectors and then you don't want to use them, you simply clear them. Makes sense, but you don't need to be clearing in order to modify, overwrite something. You simply overwrite. MATLAB is going to take the last number assigned to a variable. That's the variable that is going to be taken.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. One last exercise. Imagine, guys, that I want to change the quantity of A. What was A? So A is 10. Now we have 20 A's. So what is my total?
How many A's do we have now?
We have 10. So A,
what are we changing it to?
20.
20.
103.
103. Okay, so what I will do is I will do A equals 20 now, right? Then I have my total, 103. It's beautiful, right? Once you get it, it's just simply boom, boom, boom.
But I mean, if I try to get it, I mean, what I understand, it's like you're doing a VLOOKUP.
Yeah, well, it is.
He's like he's only dragging what you teach him.
Yes.
The program.
Yes, that's it. Remember, MATLAB is not going to do anything that well, perhaps we can put some artificial intelligence on top of that at the end of the class, but it's going to do exactly what you want them to do. So if you make a mistake, doesn't work.
When we use the like when we change the value and we have to reteach it like the formula again, that's when it changes. When you tell him like multiply now with the new value.
That's when it changes. Otherwise, it doesn't do anything. Okay. Perfect. Now, guys, what we can do is we can save our worksheet. So what we do is simply we can type save. Sorry. Okay, before you do save, guys, you need to know where are you. If you type CD, CD tells you where you are currently. So this is the directory, guys, that you're going to be using all the time. If you want to create a particular directory, guys, for the class, is much better. How do I create how do you call it? How do you create a directory for this class or direct this to the class? What you do is you simply do CD parentheses like that. So CD parentheses, and where do you want MATLAB to be working as a default? Okay, you create your directory and put all your programs, all the things you're doing in a single directory, guys. It's much better. Okay, and how do you tell MATLAB to go to that directory? And this is done only once. So if you do this now, it's going to stay here for forever until you change it. The way you do it is CD parentheses, the apostrophe, and then you write this completely, this address, or the address that you have is, this is my particular address. You know how to get this address, right?
But I mean, since I'm working on the online version, I got /MATLAB drive as a
Yeah, for you, yes. So, but that's gonna be saved. You're gonna be saving there, I assume. Okay.
How do you get that?
This one here, imagine if you go in any. So let's assume, let me move this one here. So imagine this is Windows, right? So I have all the, I'm in somewhere. You just click here.
I don't see a screen, Prof.
Oh, you don't see that? Wait.
I'm still seeing MATLAB.
Yeah, okay, wait. So I need to do the screen one. Now, do you see?
Yes, I do.
So this is normal Windows. I've been in somewhere here, and then you simply click here in the where the, and then right click, copy. And that's what you copy into MATLAB in here.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so, well, in my case, I have it, I'm already there. Now, the way you save your programs, guys, is you simply say save, not your programs. What we have done up to now, all the variables that we have created, you simply type save. If you want a name, you can call, for example, class1.mat. Okay, so if you don't save this one here, guys, MATLAB is going to create, I think it's MATLAB.mat, but you can save it like that. Save class1.mat. This is a name, so you can put whatever name you want. And .mat is extension for this type of code. So you just save it. Oh, this is 2023. Oh yeah, no, this is class1. Yes. Why is not recognizing this? Sorry. Oh, because I don't know what is this string. Yeah, save. Yeah, we have it. Save class1. I don't know why this happened. This disappeared here. I have no idea.
Prof, do you know how we can copy the address for like a MacBook?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No, can you take a look? Yeah, it should be something similar to that. I'm not using a MacBook. But it should be something similar, I'm sorry. Okay, so you have saved the class. It's called class1mat. And then if you want to, let's clean everything. Just write clean. Oh, clear, what I'm doing. Just write clear. Okay, now write whose. There's no one. Right, because we have cleaned everything. We have cleaned everything. So now what I want is, oh yeah, you know what? I want to see the values of class1mat. So I want to upload this one here. So instead of save, just write load. Instead of save, you just simply call load. And then do a whose again. You see, we have all our variables that we had before. Make sense? Now, guys, there are a couple of things that you need to know, and MATLAB is very useful on for example, let's do a help sum. So help, what tells MATLAB is provide you all the information about a particular command. In this case, sum, very simple command. So if you type help sum, or, well, no, plot, help plot. Here we go. You see, it gives you all what you can do with the plot command. We're going to work with plot soon. But if you need, you know, what I do, how do I change the colors? How do I change the formats of the graphs, etc.? You simply, when you have a doubt, just put help plot. Help the one that you want to understand. Right? Now, what is interesting, guys, is that you can go here. Everyone is with me here? Yeah. What is interesting is if you want more information, examples, etc., about this particular command, you go to documentation for plot, just click there. And here you go. You have examples, you have a bunch of things that you can be doing. Okay, make sense? Now, if you don't really know what I'm looking for, you know, exactly, I don't know the name of the command, but perhaps I know for the idea. For example, I want to do complex numbers. Okay, what commands I have for complex numbers? So what you do is you use look for, and let's talk about complex, for example. So this is a generic idea, complex. And what MATLAB is going to do is going to check all the libraries, all of them, and look for programs that do complex. Got it? Take a look. A lot. And then you can start looking and you can start exploring which one do you want, etc. Make sense to you? Okay, so this is look for. Now, there is a very interesting command, guys, that is called Control-C. So you need to type Control and the C. Okay, so it's Control. You don't type, you need to press in your computer. Control plus C. What it does, it simply stops the program. Sometimes this is extremely useful, guys, because imagine you're running a program and then you do a loop that is infinite. So it's going to be looping forever. You make a mistake, and sometimes this happens. You loop and never finishes. The program runs 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. It can run forever. You need to stop the program. Do you agree? How do I stop the program? Control C. So the key, Control plus C. It stops the program. So for example, what I will do is I will do Control C. I will do again, look for complex. Okay, I will do this again. This is long, but I will do Control C immediately to stop it. Got it? Okay, I go again. Do you see? So simply it stops the program when I tell you to stop. So it throws you away from the program out of the loop. This is Control C. That's important, guys, for programming. Okay, mostly I have had the students that have been for hours in the computers and computer run. Nothing works, and they don't know how to stop the program. Well, what you can do is, of course, close MATLAB. But if you don't want to close MATLAB, Control C.
Prof, mine is saying unrecognized function or variable with control.
You don't need to write that. You don't write.
Oh, you literally Control
It's
C.
Control C, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Control C. Got it? Make sense to everyone? Okay. So some simple mathematical things, guys, we have seen already. For example, okay, let me see A and B. Okay, so this is, you can do A plus B, for example. Common, right? You can do A minus B. You can do A times B. You can do A divided by B. You can do the absolute value of B. Well, in this case, it's positive, so it's not a big deal. You know, for example, I have, let's define D equals 3.2, right? I can do one of these, a seal of D. So remember the sealing command, guys. No matter what number is here, if it's larger than 0, it will go to the upper number. This is what is called the seal. The opposite to seal is what? Floor. Do you agree? Oops, sorry. No matter what is the number to the right, floor. Of course, the other one is what? The normal round. The rounding, remember, is if it's more than 0.5, goes to the upper number. If it's less than 0.5, goes to the lower number. You can take the log, the usual ones. Oh, we can take the sign. This is also useful. So what is the sign of D? When you get 1, guys, it means that it's a positive sign. If it's -1, implies that the sign is a negative sign. Okay, we're going to use that when we do some strategies about buying and selling. The signs are going to be very useful. You can do SQRT. What is that? What do you think is that? It's like Excel, right?
Do we have
Square
to
root.
use the parentheses?
Yes, yes. Okay, so remember I was telling you this is a function.
I did round without the parentheses, and I got.
Worked?
No, I got 100. I don't know.
What is that? No, should be parentheses. So this one here is an input argument. You see? So what I'm saying is use this function. This is the input. Got it? So the input goes in parentheses always. Make sense? Okay. So let's define, imagine guys, whatever numbers, x equals 7, y equals 3, c equals 0.5. Okay, any numbers. Just any numbers. Perhaps we can do, let's call it s. It's going to be the square root of x plus y to the power z. For example, you can do whatever. That's any program, any equations that you can imagine, you can do it. Very simple, straightforward. You can take the absolute value. Oh, something that is really interesting, guys, is, for example, let's divide x divided by 3. Okay, so let's call SS equals x divided by 3. No, x divided by y. Right? And sometimes you want that the remainder of the division. So what we can do is, for example, SS, let's call it like that, equals rem of x divided by y. Oh. Yeah, this MATLAB has changed. Let's do help. Rem. Oh, yeah, of course, I know. Yeah, also they have changed the new version. So let me see the use. Yeah, okay. I understand. So rem, the use is rem x comma y. So basically it tells you, you tell, this is my numerator, this is my denominator, and give me the remainder. You see 1. Do you agree with that or not? Because x was equal to 7, y was equal to 3. So if you divide 7 by 3, the exact number of 3s on 7 is 2. What is the remaining one? Remainder 1. Do you agree? So that's the way it works. The remainder of x and y. And you can do all the funny stuff that you want to have, guys. Questions up to now? No questions? Okay, so now what I will do, guys, what I will try to do, let me show you my. Let me show you again. Let's try to do something. I will explain you first what we are going to be trying to do, and then we are going to do this. You see my white screen? Okay, so let me save this. Let me see, save. Okay, I have saved. I need to clear. Yeah. So what we try to do, guys, now, remember the trigonometric function sine and cosine? So what we want, this is pi. This is pi over 2. This is 3 pi over 2. And this is 2 pi. Got it? So what I want is that, you know, that this goes from 1 to -1. And the sine function goes like that, oops, sorry, like that, and like that. Do you agree? So let's try to do this graph. Got it? Or let's try to understand first what we are doing. So what we want to do is let's create a vector that goes from 0, let's say 0.1 pi, 0.2 pi, up to 2 pi. Okay, so let's create this variable that let's call this x. Okay, pi in MATLAB, guys, is pi. Okay, and then once I have, let's call this y. Better if we call, no, that's okay. Let's call this x. And then what I want to compute is y, for example, equals sine of x. Perhaps z is going to be cosine of x, just to see how this works. Okay, so first of all, how do we create this x? Well, let's do the long way. Copy this one. Okay, so how do we create that? Let me go to MATLAB again. Well, you know, one way of creating x, guys, is typing that. So x is going to be, and here comes something important. When you define a vector, guys, you use the brackets. Okay, so that's the way MATLAB understands that you have a vector, matrix, or an array in brackets. So what I will do is, I will type everything, and you're going to see how tricky this gets in if we want to scale this one here. So what we are going to do is going to be 0, comma, 0.1 times pi, comma, and I will do this up to pi, okay? Only pi, otherwise it will take longer. 0.2, 0.2, 0.3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and pi. So we'll do 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Pi. So this is the way we can create x.
Professor, why do we have two 0.1s?
Oh, I made a mistake.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a mistake. Thank you. So 2, 3. So I can delete 1, right? Yeah, that should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes. Thank you. Do you agree with me? You understand what we have done? Simply, we have created a sequence of X values that increase from 0.1 times P and pi, and then simply create a series. And these are the numbers. So the first number is 0. The second number is 0.3142, 683, and then I stop at our famous pi that is 3.1416. Correct? Now, once we have this one here, we can create y, and then we can say that y equals the sine. What is sine? The trigonometric function sine. Now we can say that c equals the cosine of x, etc. Make sense to you? So remember, these are functions that you need to remember, guys, because we're going to be using sine function is sine. This is my input. You see? Now, my input is not anymore a single number. My input now is a vector. Do you see that? Okay, so the inputs can be numbers, depending on the code, or depending on the function, but also can be vectors. Beautiful, right? What is the tricky part of this example, guys? This part here. So now what if I tell you guys, can you create please X, not increasing by 0.1, but by 0.01? So you are going to have 100 observations. How are you going to do that? How long is this going to take you? 5 minutes, 10 minutes perhaps, and you make a mistake, it's going to be a pain, right? Okay, so that's why we don't do this in real life. The way we do this in real life, guys, is with sequences. Okay, and there are two main sequences that we're going to be doing. One is the following. So let's create X. Please follow me for a minute. Is from what, increasing by what, up to where? I'm sorry, it's not increasing, it's increasing by 0.1 times pi. So this goes, you read this one here. X is going to start at 0. It will increase by 0.1 pi, and then it will stop at pi. So that's the way you read the sequencing. Makes sense? So if you do that, let's see what happened. If you do that, you obtain exactly the same vector as before, but in nothing. Do you understand the logic? Is from increment up to. Make sense? Okay, now can you do X instead of stopping at pi, stop at 2 pi? Able to do that? Remember, up arrow simply checks the last one. And I want instead of 1 pi, I want this to be 2 pi. Yes or no? So remember, 2 pi doesn't exist in MATLAB. It's 2 times pi. So you need to be sure that you tell MATLAB you need to multiply this. Do you see that? It goes 0, increases of 0.1 pi up to 2 pi. You simply click enter and done. Take a look to this number. This number is 2 times 3.1416. Do you agree? 2 pi. Agree. So now can you do instead of increments, instead of 0.01 pi increment, 0.01 pi increment up to 2 pi? Instead of 0.1, 0.01. Simple, right? I want to go from 0, increasing by 0.01 pi up to 2 pi. And simply click, and then of course you have 200 observations. But very simple. In a single line of command, you're able to solve this.
What's the difference between the semicolon and the full colon?
Where?
Like
This one?
if you type, yeah, if you type it with a semicolon,
It doesn't work. No.
exactly, it will show
Remember,
you the
semicolon
results.
is only to tell MATLAB break. Don't show. Right? So what I can do is I can do here, do a semicolon at the end. So what it does, it computes the value, but it doesn't show in the computer. Got it? So it is not a semicolon, guys. This dots, how do you call it? Colon, right?
What happens now if we type x equals and type enter?
Nothing. Like that?
Yeah.
Nothing. If you want to see the value, simply type the name of the variable. Equal is an operator, mathematical operator. It doesn't have any meaning. You simply type x, enter, and then you obtain all the values. You simply type the name of the variable. Make sense?
You said the colon shows what, Professor? Semicolon shows it tells MATLAB to break, and then the colon?
Yeah, the semicolon, this one here, let me see, this one here,
Yeah,
only tells MATLAB, don't show. Cut here, don't show. That's all.
Okay.
The colon, so this one here, is a sequence. Tells you, it's like, it's the MATLAB uses this column. There are all programs that use like an arrow. That simply means 0, colon, 0.01 pi, colon, 2 pi. Simply means from 0, increasing by 0.01 pi up to 2 pi. Make sense to you guys? Okay, so now let's do something that is cool. So let's do, what if I'm doing this stuff here? If I don't do the middle part, guys, MATLAB is going to understand by default that the increase is 1 by 1. Okay, so take a look. What I'm saying is 1 to 10. As soon as I don't have the middle number, MATLAB understands that it's equal to 1. So this is equal exactly to do this one here. From 1 increasing by 1 to 10. If you know that it's going to increase by 1, you don't need to type it. It's exactly the same. Make sense? Now, something that is really cool, guys, is the following. So this is what happens if I want to go from 10 to 1. It's the opposite. How do I do that? Okay, think a little. So I want y to be, I will call this y. I want 1 to go from 10 to 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, etc., etc., etc. How do you do that?
Won't you start with 10?
Okay.
And then end off with 1? And then with the increment, does it take like a negative sign?
Of
Does
course.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't you then just do -1?
Yes or no?
I don't know.
10, -1, 9, -1, 8, etc. Do you agree with me? Now, there is an operation, guys, that is called a scalar operation. So take a look to this one here. Take a look. You tell me. 0, 0.1, and what's that? 0.101 based off of 2 times What do you think I'm doing?
That maybe all of that sequence will be multiplied by pi.
By pi. Exactly. So this is another way, guys, as what we have done in the past, where I've done that. Like this, something like that. Do you agree? Something like that. It's exactly the same. Take a look. Oh. Yeah, I want to show you that. Here we go. You see that? I can do. No, where's my? Oh, I didn't copy that. So x is going to be from 0, increasing 0.1 up to 1, and multiplies pi. You see? It's exactly the same as saying 0.1 times pi up to pi. It's exactly the same. Make sense? There are different ways of doing the same stuff, but you're gonna see which one is much better for you later. So the first way of doing sequences is this one here, guys. The issue, guys, is that imagine I tell you, I want 0.01. My question is, I want only 200 values. I want from 0 to pi, I just want 200 values. Remember, if I do this, I get 101 values. Sorry, I want only 100 values. I don't want 101, I want 100. Or I want 50 values. Make sense to you? It's very tricky, right? You can do that, but you need to find what is the ratio, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be more complex. So instead of doing this way of sequencing, guys, what we are going to be doing is, let's call this XX, for example. And the command that we use is linspace. And linspace goes the following ways: from, to, and number of observations. Well, it's too much. Oh yeah, let's do 100. Do you understand the linspace command? The linspace command is from 0, stop at pi. How many variables in between, including the limits? 100. Yeah, I will do less, yeah, just in order to see them. Let's do 20. I want 20 values. Okay, so you run. Here we go. It goes from 0 to my pi. How many values do I have? 20. You see the difference between these two sequencing? Make sense? Okay, so let's continue. So let me write, guys, you know what is XX? So let me call you this one here X only. Now what we do is, I have a vector that is 1 times 20, right? 1 row, 20 columns. That's what I have. So this is what I have here. X is 1 row. Well, it shows in 2 rows because it's too big, but it's going to be a single row. How many columns? 20. Agree? So now, how do I select, for example, I want to have this value. I want to just take a look to this value. How do I see that? Well, here comes the trick. For MATLAB, this is position 1, 1, position 1, 2, position 3. As soon as you have a vector, this is going to be position 1, 2, 3, 4. It's position 4. So what you can do, for example, is let's define z equals x position 4. So what I'm doing here, guys, is assigning to the variable z the value of x that is in position 4. Do you understand? So what I'm doing is I'm assigning to z the value of x position 4. Position 4 is 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's take a look. Right? So now I want to assign to C1, I want to use X, and I want to assign from this one here values from the 4th position to the 7th position. So basically 4, 5, 6, 7. All these 4. I want to assign to C1 from X all these 4 values. So what I can do is going to be from position 4 to position 7. Yes or no? So this, what it will do is going to take X of 4, X of 5, X of 6, X of 7. And so take a look. Okay, make sense? Okay, you do the following. Now I want the last 3 positions. Just create C2. C2 is going to be the last 3 positions. I want C2 to be these 3 values, guys.
From 17 to 20, maybe.
Yeah, so it's going to be basically (17 to 20), 17, 18, 19. No, should be 18. Right? The last 3 ones. 18, 19, 20. Oh, and this is wrong. Should be an equal here. Got it? So now what I want from you guys, let's define Z3. And what I want is to have all the values of X, but in different order. So the 20 goes to the first position, the 19, the 18, etc. So the reverse order.
Professor, do you mind repeating that? What would you like?
Yes, I want Z3 is going to have the exact values of X, but reverted. So it means that the last value is going to be the first, the 19th value is going to be the second, etc. You see? So I want 3.14 to be the first value, this is the second value, this is the third value, etc.
I mean, I tried to input from 20 to 1, but it says empty
Yes.
double row vector.
Yes, because remember, if you just put 21, what is the increase here? What is the default increase?
It's
By a
1.
factor
Isn't it
of
supposed to
one.
be minus 1?
Positive. Exactly. So what you need to do is from 20, increasing by -1 to 1. Yes or no? Because if you put 20, increasing 20 to colon to 1, it's impossible. You can never increase from 20 to 1. So it'd be -1. And then we should go ahead. We should get it. You see that? Cool, no?
Hmm.
Okay, you want to see how we're going to complicate our lives, but these are the basic things that you need to understand. Okay, guys, now imagine, okay, let's type again X to have it here. I want from X, listen to me. I want from X position 1, 3, 5, all odd positions. And let's call this C4. Do you understand? I want the odd positions. I want 1, position 3, position 5, etc. Ready? How to do that?
I think you add 2, you start with 1 and add 2. And then to 20, you said, right?
20, yeah. Right? And MATLAB is going to take, as soon as you're taking 1, 3, it's going to stop at 19, because 20 is not going to be considered. You have it here. You see that? Got it? Everyone is with me, guys? Are you with me?
Yes.
Excellent. Now, there's something more complex. What I want from X, and perhaps it's not no mathematical logic here. I want the second position. I want the 6, and I want the 7. 2, 6, and 7. And let's call this X5. Okay, here there is no mathematical logic, right? Guys, do you understand that there is no logic? I simply took it randomly. What I want is position 2, 6, and 7. So how do you tell MATLAB specific positions? You do the vector denomination, and then you simply do 2 space 6 space 7. Or if you want 2 comma 6 comma 7. When you want a specific positions, guys, you need to tell MATLAB, take this matrix like that. Consider this vector, and this vector contains the specific positions of X. And the order can be different. If you want, for example, guys, I want 2, 6, 7, and after 7, I want the position number 1, for example. You can do that if you want. You understand what I'm doing? Okay. That's it. You see the first one appear at the end. Okay, so now let's take a look to, sorry, this should be C1 was this. And this was let's see, C6. Now, guys, I want to put 2 matrices together, or 2 vectors together, one next to the other one. Okay, so let's take a look to, I want C5 and C6 next to the other one. You understand? So let's call this C7. How do I create one vector together with another vector? Well, the thing you do is we are going to create a vector, right? So that's why you need to do this stuff. Oh, MATLAB, please create a new vector. As this new vector is going to be C5, comma, Z6. Basically, this is C5 and this is C6. And the comma means put it next to it in the same row. Make sense to you? Now, imagine, guys, that what I want C8, I want C8 to be equal so we have joined that. You know, I want to add a number 99 at the end of this one here. Do you understand what I'm doing? So I want C8 to be equal to C7, exactly the same numbers, but I want to add a number 99 at the end. Okay, so how do you do that?
Do you want to add a specific number 9
Yeah,
or the number
no,
the 9?
yes, a specific number 99, you know, at the end of this one here. I want C8 to be exactly the same as C7, but with an additional number 99. 99 at the end.
I think you do the same that you did for Z7 and then you
Right.
say
You
comma.
need to tell it is a matrix, sorry, a vector, correct? What else?
And then you say Z7, comma, 99.
That's it. That's it. Got it? So now what I want is so C9 now is going to be equal to C8, but I don't like this number. I don't like the 0. I will show you a smart way of doing this, but at least for now, I want you to create C9 is exactly C8, but without the 0. Okay, well, the things that we have learned up to now, there is a smarter way, but give me just 1 second, we'll bring some water. Okay, guys, ready? Someone. It doesn't matter if it's robotic, but at this point, what I want is to work. Okay. Forget about efficiency at this point, just work. So one option can be the following, guys. I want C8 from position 1 to position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to position 6. Do you agree? And then I want to locate C8 position 6, 7, 8. What do you think about that? Works or not? So from C8, simply take position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So take this first part, and then join it with the same matrix, but only the observation in position 8. So, yeah. Works or not? At this
Yes.
point, guys, what I want is you to do it. It doesn't matter how, but do it. Don't type only the values. That's just not a good idea. Questions? Now I want you guys to delete position number 4 of C9. So I don't want you to create C10. I want you to C9 now. It's going to be exactly a C9, but without position number, with the position number 4. Okay, so here, guys, you can join this, right? But normally the way we do it is the following: C9 position 4. This bracket implies empty. Okay, so what we are telling MATLAB is C9 position 4, so this number here, just delete it. Take a look. Disappear. Make sense to everyone? Okay, so now let's do what is called some mathematical operations with vectors. Now remember, guys, that in order to sum, multiply, etc., vectors, you need to have some matrix conventions, the dimension conventions. So for example, let's define A. This is the way you write a vector. Okay, this is A is going to be 1, 2, 3. Let's assume B equals 4, 5, 6. For example. You see that? So now what we can do is we can do Z equals A plus B. We can do that, right? Because the dimensions are exactly the same. I can do A minus B. Can I multiply A times B? No. Okay, because my matrix multiplication, guys, if I have an M or N times M, your one should be M times whatever, do you agree? So the middle number should be the same. In this case, we have 1 times 3 times 1 times 3 is impossible to do it. Okay, so take a look to what happens. It doesn't work. But what if you want to do, for example, 1 times 4, 2 times 5, 3 times 6? Exists something that is called the dot matrix multiplication, like that. Dot star. Okay, so if you do dot star, guys, implies that every number is going to multiply to the corresponding number. 1 times 4, 2 times 5, 3 times 6. Here you go. Okay, you can do the same with power, guys. So it's element by element multiplication, element by element power, etc. Make sense to everyone? Okay, so now we have vectors. Now let's start working with matrices. Remember, matrices has number of rows, number of columns. Okay, M times N. So let's create a matrix, guys. Let's assume that is A equals now a matrix. So you need to tell MATLAB, A, I'm creating a matrix, bracket, bracket. The way you enter rows is with spaces or columns. So for example, I want 1, 2, 3. I want this to be in my first row. When you want to do the second row, so you want to move down, semicolon. And then let's do 4, 5, 6. And then my third row, 7, 8, and 9. You see? Or if you prefer, you can do 7,9, 7,8,9 if you want to, but space is enough. So just take a look. Okay, 1 minute to understand this notation because it's crucial. Everyone got it?
Yes.
Perfect. Can you do B, guys? I want B to be a number between 9 to, let's say, 9 to 14. To be first a row vector. So V is going to be 1 to 14, 9 to 14. You don't need to type 9, 10, 11. You know the sequence, right? Guys, correct?
So you do B equals bracket parenthesis 9 colon 1 colon 14 parenthesis bracket.
Yeah, if you want, you don't need the parentheses because remember the sequence is already a vector. So MATLAB understands this is a vector. So you need to do the parentheses or anything. It's like that.
Also, I don't have to tell it by factor of 1 because
no, exactly. You know, if you want, this is exactly the same as doing this, but you don't need to, right? Make sense? So you don't need to do this. That's enough. Now, moreover, for MATLAB, a sequence is already a vector, so you don't need to do that. Okay, this works only with sequences. So you need, it's okay with that. If you want to do that, that's okay. But technically, for MATLAB, a sequence is already a vector. So if you do that, you have that. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so now let's take a look to whose. Can you write whose? Oh, we have so many variables now. Well, A is a 3 times 3, you can see. It's a matrix 3 times 3. B is a 1 times 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make sense? So that's why whose is very important, because it tells you the dimensions of your data. Now, guys, what we do now with a 3 by 3, 1 by 3, 1 by 6, or whatever, you can multiply this by millions of rows or millions of columns. It doesn't matter. The mathematics and the way we are going to work with them is exactly the same. Make sense to everyone?
Yes.
Okay, so there is let me type B again. B is a row vector. I want to transform B, that is a row vector, into a column vector. What do we use? Let's call this B1. We use the transpose. The transpose, guys, is simply the apostrophe. Okay, so if you want to transform something that is in a row vector into a column vector, you do that. Make sense to everyone?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So now let's go back to my A matrix. And I want you to do the following. So let's call this again Q, okay? I want Q, guys, to be this value here, 5. So how MATLAB understand the notation, the positions here? For MATLAB, the positions are the mathematical position. What is the position for this number here? 1, 1, correct? First row, first column. What is the position of this guy?
1,
1,
2.
2,
1, 2. What is the
1,
position
2.
of this guy?
2,
2,
2.
2.
2, 2, and that's it. So I want from A position, let's dot this, 2, 2. Do you understand? Put in Q the value of A that is in position 2, 2. Take a look. 5. Agree or not? Now, how do I select a complete column or a complete row? Column. So imagine, I want this to be Q1. I want Q1 to be only the column number 2 of A. All rows, only column number 2. So what I will say, when I say everything, is always column. All rows, column number 2. You see, what I'm saying is I want this column 2, 5, and 8 is all rows, only column number 2. Right? Now, can you do Q2 that is all columns, only row number 3? So basically 7, 8, and 9. I want that.
Um, 3, comma, column.
Wait.
A equal
A from A.
A,
Uh,
3, comma, column. Yeah.
Okay, so here we have an issue. MATLAB is going to understand this is the third row, all columns. Oh, yeah, that's what we want. Actually, this is correct. Do you agree? Third row, all columns. Agree with me or not, guys? Okay, perfect. Now what I want Q3 So let me write again Q. No, not Q, A. So this is A. I want Q3 to be the following. I want, listen to me. I want the third column to be the first column, the second column to be the second column, and the first column to be the last column. Basically shift the columns. Okay, you tell me.
Can we do the transpose thing?
Oh, well, the transpose, what it does is what? It shifts that it's going to be 1, 2, 3. So let's take a look to that. It does this. There is a column transforms into a sorry, this is a row transforms into a column. That's not what I want. What I want is 3, 6, 9 to be at the first position, 2, 5, 8 at the second position, 1, 4, 7 in the second column, in the third column. You understand? Okay, think a little. So Q3 is still not done. Just play with the indexing. Indexing is crucial, guys. Ready? Solutions, yes or no?
Just
Okay.
1 second. 1 second,
Yes.
please.
1 second for you. Go ahead. Okay, 1 more minute, guys. Yeah, 30 seconds. Okay, have you solved it or not? Well, let's take a look. So I want to keep all the rows, right? What I want is to change the order of the columns. So I want to start at the end and move it this way, right? So what I can do is 3 minus 1 to 1. Yes or not? Yes or not, guys? Yep.
Yeah, it works.
Yep, it works. Okay, so now you do, oh, sorry, yeah. I want Q4 to be the columns are going to be the same, but now the rows are the ones that are going to be changed. 369 are going to be the first, 258 the second, 147 is going to be the last one. Okay, so now you should do this very quickly.
Can you please just repeat that, Professor?
Yes, so what I want, this is A again. What I want is the third row to be the first row, the second row to stay the second row, and the first row to be the last row. So now,
So we switch the code.
you switch what?
Like instead of beginning with the colon, you begin with
Yeah.
yeah, like just switch it. Like
With
from
3
3 by a factor
times
of
1.
1 comma the colon. Yeah. Keep
Exactly.
all the yeah.
All at once. Do you agree, guys? Oh. Makes sense to everyone.
Nope,
Okay.
still need some patches.
It doesn't work?
It does work, but it doesn't make sense. Still need some patches.
Oh, why? Why does it make sense? The 7, 8, the 7, 8, 9 now is the first one.
Yes.
4, 5, 6 is, well, it stays at the same time and same position. And 1, 2, 3 now is the last row. You see that?
Yes.
Makes sense? So now imagine, guys, the following. When do we use this stuff? A very simple stuff. Imagine the following. We have data that is started in 2020, daily data up to 2023. Got it? 2020 first, 23 late. The last one. Sometimes we don't want that. We want the data, the recent data to be first and the old data to be the end. What do you do? This one here. Do you agree with me or not? Very simple, extremely simple. Boom, you shift.
Will I have to, will the program assume all the info will behave as a vector, maybe?
Every time. Every time. We're gonna start working with labels later, but yes, for MATLAB, that's the beauty about MATLAB and R also, is that everything is a vector. Everything is a vector. And indeed, it's a vector. You're gonna see in a minute. Okay, guys, a couple of other commands. So let me put A again. One command that is called size. Size of A is gonna give me the number of rows and columns. Okay? I have 3 rows, 3 columns. So it's always row and column. Remember, never change it. We never change that. It's rows and columns. Make sense, guys? Okay, now you can also do size A1. So the number 1 implies number of rows. How many rows do I have in A? 3. If you do size of A2, number of columns. Got it? Now, there is another command that is called length of A, gives you the highest row or column. Well, in this case, it's 3 by 3, so it's always 3. So I think we have B. Yes, so let's do length of B. What is going to provide me, guys? What is B? B is a 1 times 6, correct? 1 row, 6 columns. So what is going to be length of B? The maximum of 1 and 6. What is going to give me? 6. Got it? Now, imagine that we have a, A again. How many observations do I have?
In total, 9.
9, right? So one easy way to do that is we use the command prod. Prod is multiply. Prod of size of A. So remember, what is size of A? When we wrote size of A, provides me 2 numbers, right? Provides me 3 and 3. When I apply prod to this, it's going to do multiplying this times this. So if we do prod of size of A, so I can call this one here N, number of observations. Okay, 9. So how many observations do we have in B, guys?
6.
Yes, but now using MATLAB. Oh, you use MATLAB?
No, I mean size of B.
Yeah, let's call exactly prod of size of B.
Yeah.
Make sense to everyone?
I mean, what he did is it was 1 times 6. Rows
Exactly.
time columns. Okay.
Exactly. Exactly, that's what it's doing. Exactly, that's what it's doing. Questions, guys? Hey, Babola, you are on mute.
Oh no, I don't have any questions. I was
Okay.
just going through the work with my buddy.
Perfect. Okay, questions, guys. Do you understand this part here? Okay, so now let's do a very simple example. So you are going to do this. Let me show you my whiteboard. So now what I want from you guys is let's create a line. Yeah, let's create a line. So let's assume, guys, that my line equals 2 plus 3 times x. Okay, and x, I want x to belong to the interval minus 3 and 3 with increments, let's say 1, increments of 0.5, and increments of 0.01. Okay, so when you have increments of 1, let's call it y1. This is y2, and this is y3. Okay, can you please create this variable y?
Sorry, what should we create?
Oh, this one. This is what we want to create. Is this vector? Sorry, is this line? Got it? X, the values of X is going to be between -3 and 3. And do Y1 is going to be called, when you do increments of X by 1, increments of X by 0.5, increments of by 0.01. Done? Okay, so if we do, guys, X equals, we say -3 to 3. So let's call this X1. Correct, guys? So this is going to be -3, -2, blah, 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 and 3, one by one. And I want to create Y1 that is going to be equal to 2 plus 3 times X1. And I call this one. Do you agree with me, guys, or not? Yes? Okay, so I will do all of them first, and then we can modify what I'm doing. So X2, this increases by 0.5, and this is going to be Y2. The formula doesn't change. This is X2. Agree with me? And then X3, well, this is going to be X3, Y3, and the increase is 0.1, right? And X3. Done. You agree? So we can take a look to Y1, for example. This is Y1. So what is the value of Y1 when X equals 0, guys? Well, if you want to use this equation here, what is the value of Y1 when X1 equals 0? You simply replace the value as 0, correct? 2.
Why, I have a question. Why are we at the end of the of X2 and X3, we are multiplying by X2 and X3? Isn't it supposed to be?
Oh, this is my equation. This is my equation.
Yeah, but
Y
at the end,
equals,
isn't it,
yeah.
at the end, isn't it supposed to be X1 again?
No. What I'm changing is X1. This is X1. That increases, X1 increases by 1. X2 increases by 0.5. And X3 increases by 0.1. You see? So that's why I'm using here X3 and I'm using here X2. Make sense to everyone, guys? Yes or not? We're going to start plotting, we understand everything, but you understand how easy it is. It's as simple. You create an equation, you put values of X, and then you evaluate Y. Very simple. Got it? Okay. So now let's go to something more well, no, not more interesting, but interesting too. So arrays. So what do I do? I need to show you again. Okay, guys. So remember that we have seen the following. We have seen vectors. Agree? It's a single dimension, can be a vector like that, or can be a vector like that. Okay, we have matrices. It's basically something like that looks like m times n. Remember, this is always number of rows and always number of columns. It's always like that. And then what we're going to see now, guys, is something that is called an array. Okay, an array has 3 dimensions. It's like a vector. So it has m rows, n columns. But it has, so let me do a block. But it has a 3rd dimension, faces. So let's call Q. Do you see that? So for example, guys, let's call X, the dimension is going to be M, N, Q. If I have an X that is 4, 3, 5. So what do you understand by that? How many rows do I have? How many rows?
4 rows.
4 rows. How many columns?
3 and 5 faces.
And how many faces?
5.
5 faces. You agree? Okay. So now let's do one example. I will give you the numbers. Let's do one example, guys. Imagine that I only have 2 faces. I have individuals down here. Years. I have individuals here. And I will have, the first one is going to be income. And the second one is going to be savings. Income and savings. So let's create this matrix, okay? I will just create an artificial number, an artificial array. Okay. So let me, yeah, let me show you my MATLAB again. Yeah, you see my MATLAB? So let's
Yes.
assume, guys, yeah, let's assume the following, okay? Let's call this panel data. This is going to be the name of my array, okay? And my array is going to have 5 years, 3 individuals, income and savings. Okay, so what I will do is I will write, imagine, please allow me to, let's write this to it's 100,000, 72,500, 41,000. I'm sorry. So this is the first year. The second year, 125,000, 82,500, 43,500. The third year, 180,000, 89,000, 45,900, 300 for the 300. Oh, 300,000, 97,000, 49,000, and the last one. And let's say, okay, so this is the income of individuals per year. So individual number 1, he made first $100,000 first year, second year, third year, fourth, and fifth. Got it? So if I do this, oh, sorry, what I will do is this is going to be panel data, all rows, all columns, first phase. So that's the way I'm defining the income. This is fill the panel data, first create a matrix that is going to be an array. It will have rows, it will have columns, and it will have phases. In the first phase, please write these numbers. Okay, can you write these numbers so we are all same page? Are you with me, guys? Yep. Okay, and I will do the second screen, the second phase. The second phase, guys, as I mentioned to you, they correspond to savings, okay? So let's create these numbers: 35,000, 22,500, 1,000, 58,800, 31,300, 2,300, 112,564,36. Whatever number. 231, 291, 43, 291. Yeah, I'm just creating. And this is the second phase. If you can copy the exact numbers, guys, so we can, oh, yes, and we can basically compute the exact numbers. If you can please do that.
Professor,
Yes.
just a quick one. We had to leave the library, so our computers are about to die. I just wanted to know what time the session will be ending.
Oh, now in 5 minutes.
Oh, in 5 minutes. Okay.
Is it good?
No, that's good.
Yeah, 5 minutes is okay, and then I think we continue next class. Is okay.
All right.
Guys, do you have these numbers, please? When you, I'm sorry, where I am. Here we go.
I've got the numbers.
Yeah, you got the numbers. Okay, guys. So for today, what I'm interested is, remember, next class we're gonna have a pre-recorded class. Okay, so you're gonna look around with that. I will be sure that we start with this part here. Now, what is interesting, guys, here is that imagine I just want all the information of individual number. Remember, individuals are the columns. So this column one. Sorry, this column one is individual one, individual two, individual three. All this first phase is income. The second one is savings. Okay. So what I want from you is, can you please tell me the data only of individual number one? So let's call it indiv one. So individual number one, I want to have the income of individual number one and the savings of individual number one. Okay, ready? So what do I do? Well, first of all, I need to identify my matrix, right? My array. Then what I want from this array. Individuals are in columns, right? So which column do I want? Which column, guys?
1.
1. I want all the information. So I want all, sorry, this is not the columns. I want all rows for the first row. Correct? Sorry, all rows for the first column, correct? And how many faces? I want all the faces. Do you agree? Do you agree with me or not, guys? Do you read this one here? Can you read this one here? Is all the rows, because I want all the rows. Only of column 1, so I want this one, column 1, and this one. And I want both faces, so that's why I'm writing here all. Phase 1 and phase 2. Agree with me or not, guys? Yes, just click, then you have it.
Yes.
Now, and with this we finish. Tell me, what is the rate? How much of the income that this individual one saves per year? Let's call it save 1. So, for example, the first year he saved 35% of his salary, right? Because it's $35,000 divided by 100. The second year is going to be this number divided by this number, etc. Let's go. Guys, do you agree or not? Do you understand my question? So give me the saving rate of individual number 1. Okay, guys, ready? How do you do that? Well, I want to divide this one here, but I want to divide it's dot operation. Remember, it's element by element. Divide this by this one here. Yep. I'm doing this correct? Wait a second. Wait a second, guys. Yeah, individual 1. Oh, yeah. Yes. So I'm okay. And then this is, yes, this is okay. I can do that, or I can do, yeah, I can do this. Agree with me or not, guys? This is int 1, 2.
Professor,
Yes.
I tried to do it with the panel data. Would it be wrong for me to do it
yeah,
that way?
we can do that. Yeah, so we can do this part here. Let me copy this and then I will modify the numbers. I want panel data individual 1. This is not everything. This should be 2 and individual 1, 1. Correct? Makes sense to everyone? So and remember, this is dot divide. So what it does is first select the second phase of individual 1 and divide it by the first phase of individual 1 that corresponds to the income. And so this is what we have. 35, 47, 62, 77, 83. And this is real, guys. Do you agree? I remember these numbers came from somewhere. I don't remember where, but this is real data, I think, per the size. I don't remember very well. But this means the following, guys. If you have one individual that starts at $100,000 and saves 35%, the more he makes as income, the more he saves. Why? Basically, because you cannot eat more than the other people. You cannot drink more than the other people. You see, unless you start buying luxury cars and, you know, jewelry, etc., your saving decrease. But in general, what happens is that individuals start making more money and more money and more money. What they do is they save more and more. So this is more or less what happens here. Now, can you tell me what happens with individual number 3? Just tell me that. Individual number 3 is someone that started very low. It starts also increases their salary, but the salary increase is very low. Okay, so this is individual number 3 is third column. Individual number 3, third column. You know, they also increase. But as soon as his salary is increasing, not as much as the other guy, you can see here. No, sorry, the salary is not increasing as the other guy, the last one here. His savings don't increase as fast as this guy here. Make sense? We are done for today. Questions, guys? Easy? Now, can you please review this one here? Yes, go ahead.
No, I was saying it was sort of easy, not really easy.
Yeah. But the only way, Babal, you need to do that is please redo this. Okay? You wanna redo that. Don't delete don't close MATLAB, just keep it there and then tomorrow practice again and you're gonna say, oh, now I get it. Okay? Makes sense? The only way is practicing. This is practice, and that's it. Okay, guys. I think we have done a fantastic first day. Okay? Talk soon then.
Thank you, Professor. And just last one, Professor, before we head out, when will the recording be available?
On Wednesday, very early.
And this recording that we've done today?
Oh, this was to Fordham. The other one I have it, so that's why it's from the previous year. So I can put this on Wednesday very early. You know what? Perhaps I have the recording from previous year. I can post the previous year recording. Let me see how do I do it. Okay? So you're gonna have everything. Okay. Don't worry.
All right. Thank you, Professor.
See you guys. Good night. Good night. Take care. See you.
All right.